Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MXGP 2020, of course continuing on with our championship, and we're going to be here in Turkey for another MXGP Race 1 and Race 2. So starting on the right hand side, and away we go. That was a very quick start. The grid didn't stop very long, and of course a very difficult track in a track I can't even pronounce in Turkey, of course. But Tim, guys, it does set the Fox's whole shot going into turn 1. He is the man on the mission right now, and away he will probably try and check out. Not a bad start considering our track position. Of course, skipping the qualifying and jumping straight into the race. We got ahead of Jorge Prado there. Wonderfully done from the man on board the Venroy Yamaha. Now alongside a couple more riders, Tony Cairoli ahead of us, Brian Boge's there as well. We've got a KRT Kawasaki racing team on our right hand side. It's Clement de Sal. We'll try and get some moves on in him very soon. Up at the inside, Tony Cairoli, if we can make that stick, that would be a lovely move. Not quite. Cairoli's still there, and for some strange reason it is raining once again. Every single race this season has featured some sort of race in the wet, and of course once again here today. Tony Cairoli just ahead of us. He's in 7th place. We'll continue to try and push past and work our way forwards to try and get some additional points. Of course, we are the red plate holder. We are leading the championship as this race continues, or at least it's getting really heated now. But the rain, of course, is a big issue for some of the riders. For us, it's not so bad. I have a good feeling in the wet compared to the dry sometimes, so I'm quite happy for these conditions. Tony Cairoli and Grant are having a wonderful battle here for the man who won the MX2 World Championship. Unfortunately, you guys didn't see that because at the time I didn't really record MXGP, but Tony Cairoli, the 9 times World Champion, is giving it to the 1-time World Champion, let's be honest, as Brian Boges is ahead of us. We'll continue to chase him down, and hopefully on the change of direction coming onto the right hand side in a moment, we might be able to take advantage of some additional speed. On the right hand side we go a little bit out of shape, but we have managed to close down on the KTM rider. Back onto the left hand side we will go, past the Fox's whole shot sign of course, and past the pit. A little bit of a wave to the team on the left hand side, and now onto the right hand side we go with that familiar right boot touching the floor. I think it's an Alpine Styles boot, as the Hoff and Clement de Sal are battling it out for 3rd position. You can see them just a little bit further ahead up the road. The man on board the gas in that bright red, and of course if you watch him in real life, the Hoff currently is wearing completely blue. He's had a complete change going on board the Yamaha, of course. But Brian Boge is just ahead of us. We are getting into the berms now. We're beginning to close them in. And of course the rain has stopped and this track is beginning to dry out. It's not going to dry out significantly well, because of course this is a very damp and dirty surface. We'll try and get round, or potentially over the inside for the left hand side for Brian Boges. Tony Cairoli seems to have backed off a little bit. He's 1.2 seconds behind us, of course, as Gautier Paulan and Tim Geiser are battling out of the front. The battle for 3rd place continues to rage on between the Kawasaki man of Clement de Sal and the man on board the gas, Glenn Koldenoff. Brian Boges wants to get involved. By following Boges, we have now brought ourselves up into the podium contention. So this could be a good idea as we get absolutely punted going into that corner. Not quite sure who it was who was bumping us out of the way, but whoever it was certainly wants to get past us and get on through, and it seems to be Jeffrey Hurlings, of course, the aggressive Dutchman, is trying to get on through. Of course, Jeffrey, very good at what he does. World champion in his own right, will be trying to get ahead of this MX2 World Champion to try and take down some valuable positions. So onto the right hand side we go. I was just about to say we can take some valuable time away if you get that corner right, and unfortunately we made the absolutely complete opposite as Jorge Prado absolutely flew past the screen there, made me jump in my seat sitting at home. But right hand side we go. Jorge Prado is next in our sights. We have been pushed down to 10th position with only 2 laps remaining at the end. We need to be on our best behaviour, try and chase down Tony Cairoli, Prado, Yaskonis, and I do believe there's another rider ahead, and I think that might be Jeffrey Hurlings. We'll go for a nice little scrub here, try and land it and get in behind Jorge Prado. Onto the left hand side we go, follow the berm round, and we might already be able to take at least one of these 2 KTM riders ahead of us. We have 4 KTMs ahead of us, I do believe. In fact, Yaskonis is on the Yamaha, so it probably won't be him. But of course on the right hand side now ahead of Tony Cairoli. Onto the left hand side we go now, beautifully done, as we are just having that wonderful change of direction that we seem to be very good at here in MXGP. And that is a wonderful move there from Yaskonis, and getting that view there in this 1st person view, of course, give me a better indication that I was actually wrong. He is on the Husqvarna, of course, not the Yamaha. We are on the Yamaha, and I completely made a mess of that one. But on the left-hand side we go, forgetting the mistakes of a past DrAce error. We'll go on to the right-hand side, put the yellow boot on the floor and begin to charge down Jeffrey Hurlings and Jaskonis. We've got a lot of time to chase them down. Of course, it is only one more lap. After a couple more seconds, there it is. Gautier Paulin sorts us out for one more lap. The final lap, the penultimate lap, was somewhat of a disaster, but we managed to chase them down. Oh, that's a big mistake, getting close to the Monster Energy sign. Whoa, very, very close there for the man on board the Yamaha. Team Geben Van Roy were absolutely freaking out then with the prospect of their rider crashing out near the Monster Energy signs towards the end of lap, or whatever it would be. I think lap 6, lap 5, I can't remember, lap 4, who knows? I seem to have forgotten the times, but on the right hand side we go. Nice little jump here just to drop us down into the bottom part of that particular jump, the jump that we were on. But of course the track has dried out significantly. We might have a chance to chase down Hurlings and Jaskonis. Big leap there, probably should have gone for the scrub, but I don't tend to find that the scrubs and the whips in this game are a little bit harder to manipulate when in first person. You can get a better understanding from the third person perspective, but the first person just gives you that added sensation of MXGP that is just unknown when you're in the third person perspective. Left hand side we go, that change of direction. We are quite good at the abrupt change of direction. Jaskonis is ahead of us by 9/10 of a second. We do have a chance of chasing down the man on board the Husqvarna, but quite the same, Jeffrey Hurlings has a chance of chasing down Brian Boges if he is still in 5th position. But of course, following the track now, onto the left hand side we go. I don't seem to have the extra oomph that we need to get behind Jaskonis or Hurlings. Hurlings looks like he's getting closed down a little bit by Jaskonis, so in turn he is getting away from us. But of course, only one more couple of corners to go, if you will. One more jump and a few corners, or one long left. Gautier Paulin takes first place. It looks like Clement Desal took second, and Tim Geiser took third place. Grant in 8th position. So unfortunately not much to cheer for the sense of the red plate holder Matt Grant, but of course damage limitations here in Turkey, finishing 8th position, still nets us 13 points. The Frenchman Gautier Paulin won on board the Yamaha, of course, ahead of Clement Desal and Tim Geiser. Race 2 is upon us here in Turkey, and away we will go. A little bit premature on the start there in this Husqvarna sandwich with Twols Jonas and Jaskonis to the left and to the right there as we get bumped going into turn 1. Doesn't look like we're going to get the whole shot as someone went practically sideways there. I believe it was one of the Yamahas, but what a start from 8th position. We're already up into 3rd. We were briefly into 2nd place, but Henry Jacobi took over that one as Clement Desal leads. Tim Geiser now up into 2nd position, and we are in 4th place. A little bit of contact made there with Henry Jacobi. Not ideal, but we're still on board the motorcycle, and the same can be said for the other riders, a part of that exchange as well. But now chasing down Tim Geiser, the number 243 against the number 461. Clement Desal still leads, so he's happy in the front, exactly where he wanted to be, and to be honest with you, it's exactly where everybody else behind him wanted to be as well. Right hand side we go, and it looks like we made an absolute mistake of that when we couldn't get the wheels to grip. You can hear it in the background there, the wheels just skipping and sliding. It's like they're just really struggling to grip, and of course now that has cost us 2 positions as Jacobi made an absolutely audacious lunge up on the inside of one of the Husqvarnas there. That was a scary moment, as it looked like he was going to just skittle us all out of this Turkish Grand Prix. But main event 2, race 2, of course, we need to have a good result to make sure we can get ourselves into the Grand Prix standings to potentially have a chance of getting on the Grand Prix podium. Just to mention, no sign of Gautier Paulin, the Frenchman who won race 1 here in Turkey. Doesn't seem to be anywhere. I've not seen him during the race, didn't see him in the whole shot at the beginning, so something's happened to the Frenchman, and he certainly won't be finishing the Grand Prix on top position. Not even race 2 can save him now, but that magnificent result in race 1 was certainly nothing to scoff at. The man from France can certainly do it again if he needs be, but I'm sure something's happened further behind. So the Slovenian ahead of us, the tall, lanky Slovenian, Tim Geiser, is into 2nd position right now, but is he making any impression on the riders ahead? We have a couple of riders behind us, all concertining up, waiting to take the gamble, waiting to take the bait to us to try and kick our bottoms, but for the time being, we're going to the left-hand side and try and just defend as much as possible if there is any would-be lunges to come our way. You can see Clement Desal in the distance. He is more than happy up at the front on board the Kawasaki. Now, of course, when we do Monster Energy Supercross, we know how good the Kawasaki is, getting away to the front and just churning out the lap times. For the time being, Geiser ahead, Jonas is half a second behind. What's going to happen with him? I'm sure Henry Jacoby's going to be there as well, pushing him beyond the limits. And of course, Jacoby is no stranger to a would-be lunge if things happened. And of course, looking at the timing screen, a little bit of a mistake we had, but 1.8 seconds is the gap to Paul Jonas. Tim Geiser is beginning to close in on Clement Desal. You can just see him in the distance. We'll now go for the sort of miniature tabletop section. It's not like your traditional Monster Energy tabletop section, but for the time being, it's still something that resembles somewhat the same as the SX boys over in America. So race 1, our lap times weren't grand, let's be quite honest, but of course 2 laps to go once Clement Desal gets ahead of the timing line in a moment. Is he going to be able to defend against Tim Geiser? The Slovenian seems to have caught a second wind that we certainly haven't got any pace to match. Our lap time is looking roughly around a 1:39, which is not going to be enough. In fact, it's worse than that. It's a high 1:40. Considering Tim Geiser and Clement Desal. If I look at Tim Geiser, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen there, bottom left-hand side, is the radar. Tim Geiser was really closed in as we went sideways. We went absolutely sideways there for Matt Grant. That was a little bit scary, but going onto the right-hand side we go. Can we start chucking in some fast lap times? Can we start chucking in some sort of rhythm and momentum to make sure we maintain third position, or at least stay roughly around this position, because I don't really fancy losing any more points to the riders ahead of us, because look at them, they have well and truly just completely disappeared up the front as we made a little bit of a scrub of our own. Not the proudest scrub I've ever done. The whip was a little bit off, but it was still a decent effort nonetheless. We'll get an indication on the timing screens in a moment to see where we are going up against. And of course you can see it's 1.3 seconds to Paul Jonas, so we should have secured third place, but I tell you what, I am very keen to see what's going to happen up the front. We're kind of being a spectator to this one, and I must have missed it because Tim Geiser is already through. Clement Desal is now pushed down to second, with Tim Geiser turning Cairoli time into Geiser time. The Slovenian has just turned into another animal into these final couple of laps. This unbelievable performance from Tim Geiser, the number 243 on board the Honda, is a man possessed right now. Clement Desal on board that Kawasaki cannot defend a 1 iota against such a man with such amazing talent. On the right hand side we go now. 1.7 seconds it is to Paul Jonas behind, and 4 seconds to Clement Desal. We won't be setting any decent lap times right now. We might get close to improving, but actually we go across the line. It is a 1:39 for the very first time, and of course going around the outside of this jump here and then jump it into the nice part. Oh, we cut the corner! Did not mean to do that. I'm trying to get the rhythm going and we've just made a mistake. Look how tight the gap is now. Paul Jonas will be having a lunge into turn 1 if he can make it stick. Not quite. He is behind us though. Look how close they are in the graphic. Super close now. We have to defend as much as possible, otherwise Paul Jonas will be pinching this podium and throwing it back into our face. We don't want that to happen right now. Left hand side we go, 30 miles an hour, dropping it down into second and third gear, just teetering around those 3 gears. That seems to be all that's necessary right now as we get a little bit wild on the scrub there. Not ideal as we chuck it down to first gear, chuck it into second gear and start kicking the bike around. We seem to have got a bit of momentum now. The panic is well and truly set in, and now we are kicking the bike around with certain serious amount of determination. We are really focused on holding on to this third position. Maybe I should have been doing this early on in the race, but I didn't really want to make a mistake, and lo and behold, we made the mistake anyway. So final lap it is. We are in third position. Tim Geiser has already checked out. He's on the next flight to the next main event, which I cannot wait for, of course. I do believe it's the Italian round, which I'm very excited for, but for the time being, we have survived the onslaught of Paul Jonas. Has something gone wrong for him, or have we just got that massive kick up the wazoo that we really needed? Not that long to go now, and we have survived for that third position. The Turkish fans will beckon Tim Geiser across the line. Clement Desal in second position, and Grant will eventually take third place. But bravo to Tim Geiser. The fireworks will be going off at home in Slovenia, but for the time being, across the line we go. Grant takes third in a tough race. So the end of race 2 gives us our championship results, but we'll check that out in a minute's time. But for the time being, the Grand Prix result of race 2, Tim Geiser wins with Clement Desal in second, and Matt Grant takes third position, even after falling on the penultimate lap. A look at the Grand Prix standings, and we just barely miss out on the podium. Tim Geiser wins with a 45 points, 1 point clear of Clement Desal, who took a double second place, and Gautier Paulan misses out on 6 points after a really awful race in race 2. Confirmation on your screen right now, Matt Grant finished in 4th place with the Geben Van Roy Yamaha Racing team, but nonetheless we still hold on to the red plate. Looking at the championship results at the end of race 4 for Turkey, Grant leads by 22 points ahead of Clement Desal, and Tim Geiser trails by a further 5. So guys, as always, thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single DrAce video. Thanks for watching guys, and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now, with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.